All right, so in the previous couple of videos, we connected our MetaMask and we also connected our MetaMask with the Remix ID. Then using our account, you can see that earlier it was 0.5 and it has gone down because that's the fees that we have paid to deploy this smart contract on the Sepolia blockchain. Now, you can also see over here very clearly, it's showing you all the details that this transaction has happened. You can see the green tick and it's showing you the transaction hash, the block number, the contract address. So this is very important to remember. So I'll simply just copy it and I will keep it somewhere over here. So I'm just going to say it as a comment. So contract address, and I will paste my address over here. And you can see the from address. So this is your address that you used on the MetaMask Sepolia blockchain. So this was the from address. So this is the same address that you see over here. And yeah, that's pretty much it that you need to know for now. So remember, this contract address and this from address is the address of our account one in our wallet. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm simply going to copy this transaction hash, and I will now go to the Sepolia EtherScan. And on the top right, you will see search by address, the contract address, search by transaction hash, search by block, or search by token. So let's first search by the transaction hash. So I'm going to paste my transaction hash over here. And great, you can see that the transaction hash that you see over here, it's 0xAF90. This is the same transaction hash that you see over here. So using this transaction hash, I have searched all the details. Now, if I scroll a bit down, you can see the status is a success. It shows this was done 4 minutes ago. It shows this was the address that did the transaction. And this is the address. This is the address of the smart contract that was created. So 0x9522BBB. And if I go back over here, which was the address of my contract. So this was the address. So if I go back over here, which was the address of my contract, so you can see 0x9522BBB. And on the Explorer, you will also see the same address. Now, this contract, how much ETH it has? This contract right now has 0 ETH. This was the transaction fee. This was the gas price. More to that later. So at the moment, I have searched all this information using my transaction hash. Now, I can also search all this information with other parameters as well. So let's go back to my Remix IDE. And this time, instead of the transaction hash, I'm simply going to copy the block number. So I'll copy the block number from here and I will go to my EtherScan. I will paste the block number and I will hit enter. Now, you can see that in this block, there are about 154 transactions that happen. So other than what I'm doing at the moment, there are other transactions also happening inside this block. So to see all these transactions, I will obviously have to click on this 154 hyperlink. And now I will have to look for my transaction. So to look for my transaction inside this block, I can simply go back to my Remix IDE and I will simply copy the first few digits of my transaction hash. So I will copy the first few digits and let's see if I can find it quickly on the first page. And I don't find that, so I will probably go to the next one. So there are about 4 pages. And I'm basically just showing you multiple ways of finding the same information. So if you have the transaction hash, great. If you have the block number, one block number will obviously have many transactions inside it. So it will be a bit of a find and search. And you can see that I found my transaction on page number 3. That was done 7 minutes ago. So again, if I click on this, it then still opens up that same page which has my transaction hash and it has everything else. So if you have your transaction hash, you can nail quickly on that particular transaction. If you've got your block number, then be prepared to find your particular transaction within that block because one block has many transactions. You can also then use the contract address. So now this time I'm going to copy the contract address. So you can click on this and it will get copied. Again, go back to your EtherScan, and I'll go back to the home page of my EtherScan. And this time I'm going to paste the address of my contract. So I will paste the address of my contract, and you can see it's pretty much already found it. So I will click on the address, and you can see that this has actually opened up the smart contract, which is my ERC20 token smart contract that I just deployed on the Sepolia blockchain. It has essentially just opened up that contract. Now, this contract at the moment has 0 ETH. It has nothing in its balance. All right, so the next thing that we can do is we can also search on the EtherScan using our contract address. So I'm simply going to copy my contract address from here, and I will go to EtherScan, and on EtherScan I'm simply going to paste my contract address, and you can see it's already found it. And that's great. So we can see our contract being deployed successfully on the Sepolia blockchain. We can see that it's got 0 ETH. And this was the contract creator. This was the account in MetaMask that I used. So I've got my contract address right over here. This is my ERC20 contract, and this is successfully created. At the moment, it has no balance. So that's why you see 0 ETH. But yes, here you are with your ERC20 contract successfully created on the Sepolia blockchain.